I kind of feel like I should be leaning on here, like, hello everyone. Good morning. Here's my coffee. Cheers. So, I was gonna film a different video this week, but it all feels a little bit facile and weird in the wake of the Black Lives Matter. I don't want to say movement because the movement's been around for years and years and years, but the Black Lives Matter protesting that's been going on online and offline the past couple of weeks, along with the pandemic and the effects of the pandemic, it all just feels so... I just feel like nothing really does it justice right now, and I know we all need escapism, and I wanted to make something. Oh, so many words. So, I want to film this video and just have a nice chat. It was originally a chat with some wine, which I filmed not yesterday, but the day before. But I think I don't really get across exactly what I was trying to say really well. And I only focused really on one aspect of what I want to talk about, but I want to make everything a little more light, if possible, because I think that's what we need right now. Also, if you're new around here, please hit subscribe if you're enjoying this video. And also, if you're not new around here, please hit the bell notification so you know when I'm doing the vids, because sometimes YouTube doesn't always tell you. So I don't know about you, but I feel like for lockdown, for me, it's just been a series of realizations and epiphanies that I think have been triggered by being out of my comfort zone. I really wasn't expecting that from this period of time, but now it's here. I thought I'd share some of the realizations I've had. Just over a coffee, we're just gonna have a chat, nice and relaxed, but reflective about what's going on at the moment. So we're gonna start with something a little bit heavier, and then we'll move on to some slightly more like me-related realizations. I think the first thing I've thought about a lot is how social media has become an attention economy. I think since I was young, I've had this perception of social media as being a place for creativity and communication, and that's its first and foremost function. And even as an influencer, I've kind of upheld that, and that's how I really appreciate social media and why I think it's amazing, is it's this place for creativity and communication. But I think watching the Black Lives Matter movement play out has made me realise there's a lot more of the attention economy, there's a lot more performative stuff going on for a lot more people, and that's what they see fundamentally as the purpose of their social media platforms. I think, and specifically the kind of social media awakening, and I use that in deep inverted commas, of like some of the people I follow made me realise that a lot more of social media was performative than I'd even realised. So one of the main criticisms that a lot of people have had of Instagram is that it's very trend-led, filtered highlights of someone's life. And yeah, I've bought into that to some extent, and I do agree, but I always thought that it was a bit more creative than that and more fulfilling than that. Some of the white influencers I've seen whose eyes were opened to the Black Lives Matter movement and just in general to Black lives, it seems, like literally 2 weeks ago, are now taking selfies at protests or like posing in their like face masks, and it's become a trend-led thing to a certain extent. I mean, people have started perceiving it as trendy to be on board with Black lives. And in a way, there's nothing wrong with this, because ultimately the more people who are actively supporting a movement, the closer we are to getting true equality and the more lives we save ultimately. But in the way that some people are posturing on Instagram, it like makes me uncomfortable in a way that I haven't felt around social media for quite a while. It's not just Instagram as well. I think Twitter and to some extent YouTube and to some extent Facebook are quite bad for this too. Then there's this whole other dynamic I saw online as well of mainly white people trying to one-up each other on how much of an ally they are, how in tune they are with what's going on. It's so weird. And not just in this instance, but also with J.K. Rowling and all the very deeply wrong things she thinks about trans people. I've seen like people who are trying to out-ally other people, saying to people who have been LGBTQ plus vocal allies for a long time, why aren't you saying more? You haven't said enough. I saw a really good diagram on Instagram, I'll link it below if it's still up, but it kind of shows how to be an effective transmitter of information from the top down, from like the experts in a movement, down through you who cares, down to the people who just like eating brunch, and then down through to the actively far right opinion people on your like Facebook. And I thought it was really useful, and it kind of shows like why just going outwards sometimes, the way that a couple of people go and just shout down people who are also in their same lane, is not that effective. And I think the pressure on people to speak instantly about something or to react instantly is one, reactive, and 2 doesn't always lead to the most thoughtful outcome. Sometimes I think it potentially makes things worse. I think it plays into the dynamic we've seen in like journalism in the past couple of years of this like high retweet, high clickbait drive to just get things out there, get things out now, give the most controversial opinion, the biggest opinion. We see it on YouTube everywhere, and we see it just so much in terms of clickable headlines as well. I think at the moment we need to ask ourselves, are we leaving space for thoughtful commentary? Like, where are those spaces? Are we helping and nurturing those people who are being very thoughtful to share their thoughts? And like, are we leaving space for people to have potentially slightly differing opinions within the same overall goal? In that one-up allyship dynamic, I think a big part of it is the posting how much you're donating. It assumes that everyone uses social media to the same degree, and it just isn't the case. Like, there's so many people who hardly even go on social, and there's so many people who are noticeably a lot quieter when movements come up who use social all the time, and I think we have to factor that into account, and maybe it's not being factored in enough. And ultimately, when we try to out-ally people, I really feel like we squash conversation like publicly, and that is sad when everyone is looking to achieve the same goal. I've had some of my most productive conversations offline, on like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, because these are people, and text, I still text, but like my friends who are on side, completely on side, want to share opinions that they're worried they'll be slated for if they were to explore more publicly. And they're not wrong. Like, we have really fruitful discussions, and they open everyone's eyes and educate each other. And it makes me kind of sad that even that level of nuance has been pulled out of the internet at the moment. I have plenty of friends who I don't necessarily agree with on every single one of their opinions, but we do have the overall same worldview and the same ethics. And I think it's been weird watching people be much quieter out of fear. I'm not someone to be like, oh my god, political correctness has gone wild, because this isn't political correctness. Like, don't be a dickhead. It's really it, isn't it? I hate that political correctness argument anyway. It's just avoiding the point. But yeah, I feel like not only do we currently have an echo chamber, the echo chamber is shrinking and people are being shamed out of exploring further ideas that would widen the chamber. It's important that we're all having conversation, basically. But this doesn't include, obviously, people who are messing up or like making mistakes in their first experiences of talking about, for example, Black Lives Matter, and then being called out on their terminology or something they said, and then they back up and they're like, oh, PC culture gone wild. Not that. Like, no. That, please accept your mistakes and work to improve them as well. I'm not going out and saying you should read loads and loads of right-wing Twitter or books or media. I don't think that's really helpful either, but I think we do all need to be slightly more open-minded about people who don't have the identical opinion to us, or people that are telling us they have the identical opinion to us, because they probably don't. So those are my thoughts on social media and the wider internet culture. It's been a weird time on the internet, but ultimately incredibly productive. So for all of my criticisms, I would like to clarify that this has been a very important and very good time. These are just some things that I've noticed and some dynamics that I find slightly disappointing in amongst the overwhelming good that has been achieved. And there's been some content that I think struck the balance really well. So I would really encourage you to follow Shope Delano. I'm so sorry, I've probably said your surname wrong, Shope, but she's a blogger I've followed for years, and she posts such interesting social commentary on lots of things, but especially tech and business and like marketing, but also in this case, her thoughts on all of the Black Lives Matter movement was just fascinating to follow. I'd also encourage you to watch Nathan Zed's video, which is all about Black Lives Matter being trendy now. And a new Twitter account that I've just started following is Aisha Akanbi. She posts really interesting thoughts about social media landscape and what's going on around us. Those are just 3 people who I think are posting really interesting stuff about what's going on around us at the moment. So yeah, would recommend checking out those accounts. Okay, so now we've covered like the absolutely terrifying social media and internet thoughts I've been having and like culture thoughts. Let's talk about some things I've realised about my own life. The first one, which I've mentioned in a couple of my vlogs, if you check them out, is that I have been neglecting my wellness quite intensely. I wasn't looking after myself properly, and I didn't even know until I slowed down. From my life being pared down so much during lockdown, I've become so much more in tune with myself. Before lockdown, I was running around London all the time. I would work in my house for at least half of every day, and I would be at my kitchen table, which has some IKEA chairs, an IKEA table, and then I would go and try and seek some stimulation because I hadn't usually seen a human in the entire day outside. So I would be going for dinner with people, going for drinks with people. I would try and book in a bunch of meetings. I was in London quite a lot, like in the centre of London. I would say like 6 out of 7 days a week I was travelling at least 45 minutes a day, which is obviously completely normal if you have a commute. But I was basically trying to keep myself really busy, like between seeing my boyfriend, between hanging out with my friends. I wasn't saving a single moment for myself. I feel like the only times I was really moving my body a lot, other than the 2 gym classes I was doing a week, was if I was going on a night out and I was walking around a lot, or if we were walking down to the pub, and the pub was like a 15-minute walk away. And I had a lot of anxiety during the day, like kind of pent up frustration, and I didn't sleep all that well. I always had anxiety dreams and nightmares. I felt restless all the time. And then when I got into lockdown, I realised that when I walked to Jack's house at the beginning, so pre-lockdown, when I was walking to Jack's, I'd sleep really well. And then I started using the spin bike, and I was like, oh, when I spin, I sleep really well. And I realised there's this kind of intricate balance between in our lifestyle, in what we do, what we put in our bodies, which I was already interested in with my gut health obsession. But I didn't realise how far that extended to movement as well, and how all of these things balance out, and that includes with alcohol, with stimulants, with caffeine, the pills you take. So much is affecting your sex hormones as well. There's like this intricate balance we have in our bodies, and our body is a temple, and I was not looking after that temple. I was neglecting that temple. So yeah, movement's been a huge part of that. Movement, regular sleep, also eating enough. Oh man, food wise I've been through a lot this lockdown. There's a lot going on in my body. I've got subclinical underactive thyroid that is getting worse every test. I get tested every 3 to 6 months, so I am gaining weight. I think that's the reason I've mainly been gaining weight. And so this is, I'm like, and so. And so when we got into lockdown, I realised I'd be moving even less potentially than I previously was. I freaked out, and I was like, oh, I need to start thinking so much more about dieting, you know, being, you know, calorie counting, cutting. Like, I've not thought about these things in the way that I was thinking about them at the beginning of lockdown since I was in university, when I feel like I was on an orthorexic spectrum. I think also it was that desire to try and control what was going on in my life, when obviously everything felt quite out of control. So yeah, I lent into those feelings. But then I discovered Natasha Oceani, I think her name is. I probably said it wrong, Ocean. And she has an incredible channel, but she talks loads about the science behind dieting and why it does not work. It does not work. You have to make slow, gradual lifestyle change. And now I'm really trying to implement intuitive eating in my life, and I feel so much better, especially considering, and again, this was something I neglected, I have a vitamin D deficiency and a B12 deficiency, and I was just ignoring it, and I have felt so much better since I stopped ignoring my health. So yeah, we're on a little wellness journey at the moment. Please join me. And finally, on this point, one of the things that I've really noticed is that not having a good working environment has been impacting all of these. In the next place that I live, 90%, I'm 90 to 100% that I'm gonna create an office space, whether that's in the main room or spare bedroom or whatever. Like, I'm going to have an office space. I'm gonna get a proper chair and I'm gonna have an office room or like a studio space or just something, because I currently work on my kitchen table and that's not good for me. It's not good for my body and it's not good for my brain. Oh my god, another realisation. I can't believe how long this video is going to be. It's actually going to be gross. I've also become more in tune with how my appearance affects me. So Aviva and I were having this chat like earlier in this week, and she was saying she feels so much more herself the way she is now. Like, au naturel, she's in comfy clothes all the time. She has to dress quite smart for work usually, but she's in comfies all the time, and her hair's not done, she's not got makeup on, and she feels like herself. I am not that gal. I have realised during lockdown that the more days that I go without putting like an outfit on that makes me feel more like me, and then doing a bit of makeup, doing my hair, keeping my hair clean's another one. I really want to try growing out my nails again. All of those factors, even putting on jewelry, all of those factors make me feel way more me. And to have no purpose for them was quite scary in a way at the beginning. That's been really interesting in terms of, I don't know why it's the case. I don't know why my outer appearance correlates so much to how I feel on the inside, and why my outward appearance changes my own perception of myself. It's strange. I don't know. But we're here now, and now I know it, and that's good to know. So today I got all dressed up. I'm wearing my nice fancy earrings. I've got my little outfit on, and I feel bloody good. I feel good. And the final realization is, again, probably something I should have realized a long time ago. And maybe I think I knew deeper in me, but wasn't something I'd accepted. I need a greater purpose on top of my job to feel fulfilled. Just doing YouTube as my full-time job without any bigger cause or purpose has made me feel a little bit disengaged from my YouTube, because I'm like, well, what's the point? Who am I helping here? And that has been something that's become way more stark over the course of lockdown. I think I really want to get back more involved in encouraging people to vote. I think that's something I'm just mad passionate about, which I worked in a non-profit, and the non-profit focused on encouraging young people to vote, and it's just something I'm super passionate about. I always have been. I really like politics. I find it really interesting and very stressful. But I think it's something I need to be more mindful of, is taking those opportunities. Gonna amend that, hopefully after lockdown, whenever we can go back and live our lives again. I can't believe we've done 3 bloody months of this, and other countries are just out and partying and having aperitivo, and we're still indoors basically. Although we can now visit one person and hang out with them without a 2-meter distance. Big moves. There's been a lot on my mind, and I feel much better to have it off my chest, and also glad that I can have a nice coffee and catch up with you while this is happening. Maybe I'll call it a coffee and a catch up. And again, please subscribe if you're new around here, and also if you're not new around here but you'd like to be notified often, please hit the bell notification to know when I upload. You'll get a little notification in the top of YouTube, and it'll be Lucy uploaded. One of the best things about my channel is my comment section. I love reading my comments, and I love seeing you all have discussions in my comments. So if you have any thoughts on anything that has been discussed in this video, please let's chat about it down below. I'm in the comments, I'm ready to chat. Also, we can all disagree. So long as you are for the cause, we can disagree on some of the things I said in this video. That's fine. As long as you're not trying to reinstate the Edward Colston statue in Bristol, I'm happy, you know? Thank you so much for watching. I will leave 2 links below. One is to Mermaids, which is an incredible charity that support transgender youth. And the other one is the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust, a great charity that encompasses a lot of what we're trying to do in England to defund the police, I guess, among a lot of other support and youth work to stop people ending up in the position where the police can take advantage of an unfortunate passing. So yeah, if you'd like to donate to either of those causes, obviously I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. So across this area of the screen you can see some other videos you might want to go watch. Probably a subscribe button somewhere too. I've been really happy with the content I've been making lately, so yeah, if you want to see any of that stuff, it's all on here. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Bye bye.